Here we are yet again, another week, another avalanche of Xenoblade 3 content. This time we got an update mostly focusing on the class mechanics, but with a few other things sprinkled in. Buckle up because this one is going to be really cool. Really quick, before we dive into the analysis, I just want to ask that if you guys enjoy the content on the channel, please drop a sub and a like on this video. On my recent videos, it seems like a majority of you watching haven't been subscribed, so I'd appreciate it a ton if you could. It lets me know that you like what I'm doing and allows me to make more stuff for you guys in the future. Also, it's free. We're so close to 2,000 subscribers, and I would love to get that last push past that milestone. One last thing. You might want to take a look at the previous analysis I've done for Xenoblade 3 if you haven't. This update largely builds on knowledge they've revealed about the game in previous updates, and they tread over the same ground a lot here, so to save everyone from sitting through a really boring video, I'll just stick to the new stuff. With that, let's get to the news. First off, I'm going to show these two cutscenes that were tweeted out, which kinda just introduce the characters to us again. Either way, it's more content for us to look at. I'll play both clips for you now.
Watashi wa Mio, コロニーガンマ軍楽隊所属の送り人です。結構俊敏なのが自慢かな。100メテリは7秒台。そりゃ早いな。あと、趣味は日記。日々を書き留めるのが好きで、毎日欠かさずつけてます。
So, Noah's doesn't really tell us anything. It's likely just more footage from that opening scene we saw in the very first trailer. Mio's, however, shows us her actual introduction to the KOS characters. Similar to Riku and Manana, when the characters regroup after the fight with the Wild Ride monster, she gives a bit of background on herself. I imagine in the future they'll release all of the other character intros for us to see. I just find it really weird that they're doing character bios for the party a second time. Next up, they show us definitively, yes. Campfires exist in this game, and they function very similarly to Torna. They're also marked with the heart-to-heart icon, rather than it being a campfire icon like we saw in Torna. Torna didn't have heart-to-hearts in the sense that they just weren't called heart-to-hearts. There were discussions between characters at the campfires, but they were under the chat option instead, so it's pretty likely that heart-to-hearts will now be tied to campsites. There's this Nupon over here that we've never seen before, so maybe some campsites will have random NPCs roaming around. Over here, we can see that, like we thought, cooking and conversations are available here. But gem crafting is also making a return. We will get to that in a minute though. There's also this dumbbell icon that's pretty interesting. I don't know exactly what this is, but we may have sort of seen this before. On the mobile version of the Japanese website for Xenoblade 3, this very blurry image appears. Yeah, I know, super specific. Now, even though it's blurry, we can see that Lons and Senna are doing push-ups. All of the characters here might be doing idle animations, or it could even be a cutscene. But I also think it's possible that this image is showing us that there's some sort of training mechanic. Alrighty, now we get to the good stuff. As we know, Manana's cooking is available at campsites. Cooking food can give the party all sorts of benefits, like having temporarily increased EXP gain or other rewards in combat. But rather than just pressing a button and food popping out, this image, at least to me, feels like an indication of some sort of minigame. If not, I guess it's just some sort of transitional cutscene. This image is just really funny to me. I don't know why. I think it's because Lons reminds me of the "I just want to grill for God's sake" meme. Give me your best Lons grilling memes in the comments. By the way, he's cooking inside of Manana's shield, so I guess the whole "it's also a pot" thing that we learned a while back is kinda relevant. After the dish is cooked, it seems like it'll transition to this screen where it tells you what effects your dish has. I'm telling you, this just feels like a minigame. The post for this image explains that some campsites have a dining area, and when you try out the food there, it'll give Manana some ideas for her repertoire. Geez, there was a lot more to cooking than we previously thought. The moment I've been waiting for. Gems, baby! I love gems so much, and I'm very happy that Riku will be manning the furnace. So, this menu is really weird. It shows us a 4x5 grid of gems. Each column corresponds to a type of gem, so we have defense, offense, healing, and I'm going to assume that this star is special stuff that just wouldn't fit into other categories. Now, we can't see everything right now, but I think that since it's laid out this way, there are only 20 types of gems in this game, rather than the 50-ish types we had in Xenoblade 1. Presumably, we'll have access to all of them right from the get-go, and it's up to us to choose what we want and how we build our characters. You can even see here that you can increase and decrease the gem level that you want to craft. This is so great if true. The amount of replayability this adds is astronomical. Each gem can be made through one of two ways, either by using specific items found in the world required for each gem, or by using these Nopon coins. I have no clue how we get these, but I would much rather chuck these at Riku than hunt down all the specific items I need. Some other things to notice on this screen are the return of ether cylinders, as well as the rarity indicators from Xenoblade 2 coming back, albeit with different colors. I'm really loving the freedom of customization this game gives us. It feels like almost anything is possible in Xenoblade 3. Remember that statement for later. With the campsites done, we can talk about the base party classes. They give us a lot of info, so I'll start by explaining each one. Just a disclaimer, not all of these class names are officially named these things yet, but some of these are just being translated by fans. The Sword Fighter has overall balanced abilities and is good at fighting bosses and unique monsters. Try to avoid being targeted by the enemy and deal some damage. Zephyr. Use your twin rings to counterattack while swiftly dodging enemy attacks. You can also prevent nearby allies from being attacked. Heavy Guard. While protecting your allies with your huge weapon-like shields, you specialize in arts that attract enemies. You're a powerful shield for your party. Crusher. Crush your enemies' heads with the force of your massive thighs. Wait, whoa. How did that get in there? Crush your enemies with a super heavy hammer. Use your heavy blows to invalidate the enemy's guard. Be careful though, your high attack power will draw more attention. Medic Gunner. You have a field around you that applies healing effects to strengthen the allies that enter it. If you heal too much though, the enemy will begin to target you. And Tactician. Dazzle and disturb your enemies. While putting one to sleep, use an art that makes it easier for your allies to avoid their attacks. They also went into a bit more detail on both Noah and Mio. Their talent arts were talked about, and yes, they do indeed seem to translate as the phrase talent art. The Sword Fighter class has Exceed Buster, which is a very powerful attack that does increased damage on dazed enemies. The Zephyr talent art is called Gemini Strike. This art takes the aggro and lowers the enemy's accuracy so they can't hit you. Mio is Naked Dunban build confirmed. This is a good time to bring up the fact that we hear a new song in these clips. I like it a lot, honestly. I wonder how many battle themes are in this game because it feels like there's a lot more than usual. They go on to explain how talent arts charge for each class type. It was speculation before, but it's pretty much like how we thought, with some slight differences. The most interesting revelation is that attackers just have to attack on the side or back of an enemy. It doesn't need to be an art that procs a back or side effect, which is really interesting. Defenders need to just prevent enemy attacks by guarding and avoiding, and healers need to support their allies by using recovery moves and reviving them when they're down. Now we can move on to the class change mechanic. They shed a light on so much of the combat here, so get ready. It's explained to us that if you use someone else's class for a long enough time, eventually you can switch to a different class, but keep some of the arts. This is extremely similar to how class changing worked in X, but I'm unsure if we can mix and match arts as freely in this game. I guess we'll have to see. This part of the image says rank 15 enhancements, and I assume that rank is the measure of proficiency in a class. Increasing the rank seems to give you a faster gauge recovery time as well, so there you go. Recharge times are going to be fine. These transferable arts are called Master Arts, and it seems like only some of the arts are Master Arts. I'll also mention that each class has 5 arts to choose from. This is a step up from Xenoblade 2's 4 arts on a blade weapon. The Master Arts are the ones we see on the left side of the screen in battles. Based on what this image says, at level 40 you'll be able to equip 3 of them, which gives each character 7 arts at a time if you include the talent art. The Master Arts are what also facilitate the fusion mechanic. It allows you to use 2 arts at the exact same time, which is pretty cool. What exactly this does to the damage output and how the effects stack with each other is yet to be seen. A question I have is, if an enemy is toppled and you fuse a daze and launch art, what happens? Maybe it's random? We'll have to see though. Next up, they explain how art canceling works, and that by doing so, you can increase the chain attack gauge. Then they say, yeah, chain attacks exist. They're pretty strong. Well, anyway, see you in the next update. So I guess they'll finally explain how it works in the next one. And that's all I got for you. A lot of detail about the classes in this one. I think now we have a lot better grasp on how the gameplay loop in Xenoblade 3 is going to look. I feel like after they explain chain attacks and the Ouroboros, we'll have a very accurate idea on how combat is going to feel. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. If you did, be sure to let me know and subscribe for more Xenoblade content and just Xeno content in general. Special thanks to all of my channel members, and a super special thanks to Play, who is a legendary Blade member. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!